Keith Mercier. I'm the Vice President of our worldwide retail and consumer goods industry team at Microsoft. And we are coming to you from Groceryshop 2024. We have 4 great sessions, all centering on generative AI with partners such as Kyndryl, Cognizant, Capgemini, and Vusion. And we're just going to talk all things retail with these 4 great partners, and I hope you enjoy each of them. I'm just excited because this is one of my favorite categories to discuss in retail, stores and frontline workers. And it's a little near and dear to me because I got my first job in retail when I was 17 years old as a sales associate at the Gap at my local store in Annapolis, Maryland. And that really kind of kicked off a very long career for me in retail. And when I think back about the job that I had many years ago, and I think about the store and the role of the store then and the store today, it's just a chasm of a difference. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you're seeing in terms of the role of the store today.
Of course. I'm glad to be here. It's been a great grocery shop and really excited to sit here with you today and talk about this because I'm at Capgemini, as you mentioned. I'm the vice president, been in retail for 20 years, but just grocery for the last year. What's interesting to me is the role of grocery in my personal life. We're all consumers of grocery, but the role of the grocery store is a critical one to our communities, right? So it's how you go into the store, how you use it, everything from buying the fresh products you need that night for your family, putting food on your table, to picking up your pharmacy order, to picking up a coffee, sometimes a glass of wine if your local store offers it. And it really does serve a critical part in our communities. That has evolved a lot over the past couple of years. Being able to order my groceries in advance, getting them delivered, especially my bulk items, love delivery for those items. Still love to go into the store, pick out my fresh products. And how I interact with the people that work in the stores, it's very important to me because they're part of my community. So I think very excited to talk about this with you today. It's been really fun at the conference so far in the past day and a half to hear a lot about the focus that companies are putting at better enabling their store associates, their frontline workers, to provide that customer service that we all count on.
Yeah, well, first I want to say, I want to shop at your grocery store if you can get a glass of wine while you're moving around the store. I do the shopping in my household. My wife's a little terrified of the grocery store, so I go. It's also very cold, she says. But
very cold.
I am fascinated by the number of employees pushing shopping carts around the store. In fact, it's sometimes more than customers pushing shopping carts. And if you've ever been behind an employee who's fulfilling an online order at the meat counter, or maybe 10 or 5 online orders, as a customer, you're kind of waiting behind them. Right. And I often have this moment like, am I at a disadvantage because I chose to come to the physical store and have the true in-store experience? And yet someone else is having a completely different experience because they're doing a buy online, pick up in store, and pick to light. So I'm just curious, if you've experienced that, or what you're talking to some of your retail customers about as well.
Yeah, well, as a personal shopper, I agree with you. It can be a little frustrating when you feel like you're competing with the people in the aisle next to you. But it's also a very helpful tool because you can see what they're putting into their carts. So, but a lot of the things I'm talking to my customers about is how are we better enabling that store associate to move through the store more effectively? So how are they picking and packing those orders? How are they doing multiple orders at the same time? How can they use tools like AI to better that experience so that they're not spending as much time as a regular shopper would be going aisle by aisle looking for what they need?
No, it's true. And I'm glad you brought up the store associate. I've always believed in almost the last 5 years, it's been almost the most underserved persona in retail, right? So much has been aimed at supply chain optimization, and that's super important. So much has been aimed at optimizing personalization through marketing and building better commerce. But a lot of that now kind of falls on the shoulders of the sales associate because they're executing a lot of those new strategies, right, in the physical store. I'd love to hear your thoughts a little bit about that. How do you kind of make that experience better?
Yeah, and I think there's so much to unpack there, right? There's a lot we could talk about. I think first just taking what the role of the store is now and how that's evolved. over time, because it isn't just a shopping experience anymore. It is a place where people are fulfilling orders and expected to do a lot more.
Yeah.
I loved what Sam Club just announced and has been talking about a lot in the media lately, which they're getting rid of their checkouts. And they're converting that space into something a lot more, I think, unique. So now they have all this square footage where there used to be checkout lanes, and now they're bringing a lot of their digital-only product and experiences to the floor. Well, what does that mean for the associate?
Yeah.
No longer are they swiping bananas at a checkout, but they're interacting with customers in an entirely new way. And they have to be knowledgeable about the online promotions, the products that they have now in that space.
Yeah.
And it's not just being a cashier. It's a lot more than that.
In terms of the perspective, your perspective, I'm curious about, from a transformation perspective, what do you think is the most important thing that retailers should consider when thinking about transformation in the store, when it comes to employee as well as customer?
I always say the best way to figure out how to transform, where to transform, is to look at your customer. We are on the verge of a massive disruption in consumerism as we know it. Our customers are changing. Their values are changing, their preferences are changing, their buying patterns are changing. In this world of AI, where augmented intelligence is going to make our customers even more wiser and smarter about the choices they make.
Right.
In order for brands to come closer to the customer, they will have to create a new value exchange.
Yeah.
A value exchange where loyalty is not what the customer provides to the brand, but loyalty is all about what the brand does for the customer. So we have to design transformation in mind, keeping in mind the end customer. And what we're seeing in the industry is experience transformation. We are truly moving towards an experience economy where brands who invest in customer experience, associate experience, and partner experience will differentiate themselves, will bring that intimate relationship to fore with their customers, and brands who do not invest will perish. We've seen this time and time again.
I love that perspective. A couple of things that stood out from what you said was, one, using augmented intelligence versus artificial intelligence, and that makes a very strong point that it is really about taking the experiences in the store, the employee and the customer, and really augmenting with AI, and that's a very strong point. And the other point that I like about what you said is also that bottom-up thing where focus on the customer, what the customer wants, and then drive that transformation based on that rather than top-down. Curious about a couple of things. One is there's a lot of technology that is transforming the store today, and a couple of things that I can think of. One is the hype that we're seeing today around Gen AI, and Gen AI is transforming a lot of things that's happening in the store. The other technology is augmented reality, AR. There is also robotics and shelf-edge technology. All of these technology that is cropping up that could potentially transform the store. At the same time, there is this question about, are we going to be overwhelming the employee and the customer with technology? And will it fail to make that real connection between the brand and the customer, that there is so much technology in there? Curious about your perspective. What's the best way for retailers to use these enhancements or these emerging technologies, but at the same time also focus on the core basics of retail?
I go back to the basics. There's a book by my friend, it's called Same as Ever. His name is Morgan Hauser. It talks about the fact that certain things will never change. Our customers still expect experiences that delight, products that are high quality at a fair price. Those things will never change.
Yep.
We still need to focus on those fundamentals. technology needs to be designed in mind that technology needs to blend in seamlessly.
Yep.
There is no longer a concept of online and offline. The only concept is singularity. What singularity means that your experiences are going to blend in technology, online and offline, in a way that you will not be able to discern when one starts and the other ends. For example, when you walk into a store, you're hoping to find specific products, but you're also hoping to be delighted by finding experiences that you were not planning for.
Yep.
Right? Technology needs to enable you to find what you're looking for. But that cannot be the only way. You should still be able to ask a human and say, hey, listen, I'm trying to put this recipe together for Thanksgiving. Could you help me?
Yep.
So humans will always play a role. Technology will be augmenting a customer, augmenting the associate, so that associates can spend more time with the customer in the store rather than in the back office, trying to get the grunt work done. So what we are focusing on with our partners like Microsoft is how do you really automate and transform store operations in a way that associates can spend more time with customers and customers can spend more time over finding the experiences they want. In fact, the traditional way of looking at stores is dollar per square feet. I think that needs to change to experience per square feet. That is how we need to start measuring experience. When humans stop buying, when your buying decision as a human is going to be made by an AI agent, which is a handheld device for you, then why will a customer walk into your store and buy from you? The only reason will be because they love coming into the store, they love being part of the community, they love engaging with people who know where the produce came from. They're there for not just groceries, they're there for health and wellness. They're here for other reasons. So as the customer's experiences evolve, it is very important to build on this relationship because otherwise the customer has an umpteenth number of choices to go to in order to get the product they want.
Hi, I'm David Kass, a retail strategist with Microsoft, and I'm here today to talk about connected intelligent stores. From a connected intelligent store standpoint, this is something that I'm personally really excited about because things that retailers have dreamed about for the last 10, 20, 30 years are now possible with some of the technologies that are coming out in stores now. And I'm also here with Roy Horgan, who is SEVP of Strategy, Marketing, and Communications at VusionGroup. Roy, you and I talked a little bit before this, and we both kind of grew up in retail. I'd love to, to have you walk through kind of your retail journey and what brought you to VusionGroup.
Yeah, of course. So my own background, actually, I come from a food distribution business in Ireland, family business. It's over 100 years old. And what I knew at that time is I didn't want to go into a family business, so I went into finance. And then the financial crisis hit, and I realized, there's more important things to do than mind a balance sheet. So I started doing a couple of startups, and I founded one called Market Hub, which was acquired by VusionGroup. And the rest is history. We rebranded the company from SES and Magotag to Vusion last year, and it's been an incredible journey.
Can you speak to just how Vusion's technology in store is helping retailers provide a better experience, learning more about the customer in store and being able to provide new information that customers may not have had access to before in stores?
Yeah, of course. So look, we're first and foremost known for digital pricing. We're the world's largest provider of electronic shelf edge labels, so IoT devices. So it's a data and IoT company. So basically what we've done is it took us 30 years to deploy about 500 million electronic shelf edge labels. So we're going to do the same in 2 years, right? Again. So that just shows that that's an infrastructure. And when you have an infrastructure, you have to leverage the infrastructure. And when you leverage the infrastructure, you can do amazing things, like, for instance, local e-commerce, right? So when you want to pick from a store, you have to have very high on-shelf availability, right? Because you need that product. You have retailers now that talk about the perfect basket. The perfect basket is the customer orders something online and they want what they ordered. Substitutes sometimes happen, but they're not really what the customer wants. In order to do that, you have to leverage a number of technologies. The supply chain is really good up to the point of the store, and then it goes dark. Right? We don't know what's on the shelf, where it is within the store, and then even when we do, we don't have the confidence as retailers to basically leave that online until the last unit is picked. So they switch off the online store when you might have 3 units still on the shelf. So if we can improve through technologies like computer vision, like data analytics, and navigation, in-store navigation, using the shelf, connecting the shelf to the associate, connecting the associates to the customer, connecting the store to the supply chain, then you can have more perfect baskets, you can leverage the store, you can have more productivity within the store, you have a happier customer, and you also have associates that are able to just do what they should be doing, servicing the customer and making a better environment.
I absolutely love that. Just staying on the topic of positive commerce and something that I'm personally passionate about, food wastage.
Mm-hmm.
Something like agile pricing has been a pipe dream for retailers for decades, and your solution can provide that. Can you talk about how Vusion's technology and pros can actually reduce food waste?
Yeah, so we've seen in the press, and we've heard a lot of people talk about agile pricing in a negative connotation, which is basically people putting up prices in store in day. It's a myth. It doesn't happen. I see it happening in certain industries. Like if someone wants to get Oasis tickets, that's when you have a monopoly, right? We, as technology providers and as retailers, have a very, very, I suppose, fine line between loyalty and them going somewhere else. So you have to provide a great service and a great price and confidence. And so retailers aren't silly. They know that those customers coming in are there because they want to be there, not because they have to be there. So in order to do that, what we need to do is use technology to give them choice, but also reduce stuff like waste in the store, right? No consumer goes into a store thinking that's a deal, right? They go in store and they're looking for baked goods, for instance. If we can give them a deal in day, towards the end of the day, hopefully, because sometimes they're not going in to buy a croissant, but if they got a croissant for half price, maybe they might buy it at that point in time. Our ability to use pricing to reduce, to clear products that are short shelf life, or even using technologies like we have a technology where we basically look at short shelf life expiry dates, and we link this then to the colleagues who are in store looking to do the markdowns, but it speeds up the process. It's a combination of these things, plus better ordering, more accuracy, and then having the ability to be agile to deal with the unfortunate thing is overproduction, or because who knows, you might have an event like rain or snow or something like that, and then what you thought was going to happen in the day doesn't happen. The ability to be agile is very important. But also the ability to analyze that and execute on that is also important.
Hey, welcome to another one of our AI and Retail Spotlight sessions at Groceryshop. I'm Ricardo Belmar with Microsoft. I lead partner marketing for retail and consumer goods here in the Americas. And I'm pleased to be joined today with Brandon Rael from Kyndryl.
Thank you.
And we are going to be talking about a really fun topic, I think, on AI's impact on revenues, margins, and diversification. And we're going to take, I think, a unique look at that through the lens of a few specific areas. So, Brandon, why don't we start? Give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. And always great talking with Ricardo about such amazing topics. So, Brandon Rael, been at Kyndryl 6 months now, part of the Consult organization, where we work on really large-scale digital business transformations to reduce costs and unlock growth, and leveraging all the latest innovations like Gen AI. I do have a background that spans consulting and strategy, and also have deep retail expertise, and I work with consumer products companies and as well as grocers. So I think it's a very trending topic, and here it really make Gen AI and AI capabilities real for everyone, that it is slowly getting more embedded within their business models, and it's becoming an intuitive part of how we how we function in society, and it can really enhance our capabilities. So great to be here.
Great. So let's jump in on the first of those topics around private label. I know it's the first day at Groceryshop when we're recording this, and I've noticed quite a bit of conversation about private label. I think it's no secret in the industry, right? Ever since the pandemic, this has been a very growing, intense area.
Sure.
Curious what your take on private label is here.
Yeah, Ricardo, there's a couple of fronts and elements here. I mean, the consumers in the U.S. especially are dealing with an inflationary economy. It's recovering, but the grocery prices are through the roof. And private labels have been a differentiator for grocers, and nationwide grocers, in a way that provides value and quality to consumers. But there's also a way of doing it that offers the breadth and depth of assortments to consumers looking for value and good products for their families. And where I see Gen AI and AI capabilities come to play is really around the product development perspective and the innovation around that. So in manufacturing alone and product development in grocery, 79% of executives have an interview saying they're leveraging proof of concepts using Gen AI. So it's becoming more and more relevant and increasingly critical. McKinsey estimates that Gen AI could unlock $60 billion in productivity across all industries. The amount of time it takes to generate a private label from concept to production to on the floor from a supply chain perspective is going to be reduced up to 70% because the ability to use Gen AI and digital twin technologies, capabilities to accelerate everything from ideation to concept generation. So I think if you shop at your local grocer lately, you can see a lot more private labels, a lot more quality and a lot more value for your budget.
Yeah, I think those are great points. And one of the areas I would add to that too for AI, and particularly Gen AI in private label, you mentioned in the product development process, accelerating that cycle. I think even if we look at once that private label is developed, there's probably two areas I think there's a good benefit from AI. One is from the grocer's perspective, how do I determine which category I want to introduce a new private label? How do I look at the data, historical data I may have on what customers are buying, which brands are buying, where do I have a good, strong opportunity to introduce a private label product there? I find it fascinating as we see more private labels. With grocers, it used to be the private label was just something on the shelf.
Exactly.
Right. And now we look at, for some grocers, these are potentially billion-dollar products for them. So how you market those is actually quite important, and how they introduce those to their loyal customers, how they entice new customer loyalty, which I think we're going to get to that in a little bit.
Yes.
With that, so leveraging Gen AI to help them produce more content around how they're marketing those private labels, I think is also another benefit.
Agreed. And I think what you're speaking to, Ricardo, it really starts with building the foundation first. We tend to leap towards what Gen AI can do, or AI capabilities can do in terms of innovation and driving change and transformation. But the foundation of the strategy has to be from a data perspective. And it all ties together, collecting the data to having clean data sources, data governance, having a consolidated view of the data. In a way that democratizes it and makes it available, accessible to product development teams, to merchants, to people who do the pricing, and also promotions and product development for private labels. It's going to really accelerate everything we're seeing, from pricing, promotions, to product development, to store operations, and the customer touch points, loyalty, and also pricing and marketing as well. So it all speaks to how critical is the foundation, right?
Right.
And then you can start thinking about how to integrate Gen AI capabilities to unlock value and drive growth.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, I would say one of the things that I see a lot in general media stores, right, about how companies are trying to leverage AI and Gen AI, they do exactly what you described. They kind of leap to the end of what that potential benefit would be. And there's not enough evaluation of, do I have the right data foundation?
Correct.
Do I have enough clean data? How is my data foundation orchestrated? The fact is, we all experience this in working with retailers. Data exists in any number of infinite locations within the retail organization. So how do you connect the dots between all of those data sources and link them together in a way that you can build the right AI models to leverage Gen AI? And that's definitely, I think, an area that we see a lot of retailers do need some help in getting that done.